Jiggy cat on a damn killer spree. This is not good, so and you can't mimic my energy. 100 rounds strong and be hanging like a centipede.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Nagato's Revenge, and it's been quite a long time since I recorded an official video on my channel. However, nevertheless, today is August 16th, 2020, and I'm getting back into the PlayStation 3 scene, and I'll be talking about a topic that I've been trying to get forward to for a while now, which is dealing with ProDG Target Manager, also known as TMAPI. And for today's video will be a beginner's guide for DEX users, people who own test kits, so like debug units, as well as people who own reference tools like me, basically a DECR PlayStation 3, and I'll be just covering some general disclaimers and general information towards this introduction, so everyone is on the same page of what I'm going to be covering on for today, just like any of my other videos. One of the disclaimers I do want to state as of right now: this guide / showcase is for more advanced users, and its overall purpose may not be for the average homebrew consumer. So for those of you who are on HEN or on KEX and just want to play, you know, just their regular PlayStation 2 games and backups with ISOs, this is more dev oriented in a sense, since this is for people who are like homebrew devs or RTM mod users who want to get more out of debugging their game. Let's say if they're trying to test you know, whatever. So for me, for example, I test a lot of stuff with ProDG Target Manager for PlayStation Home, and anytime I am debugging, ProDG is a successful tool for that. So this is just for, you know, people who are into like the more of the development side of stuff. Another disclaimer for today's video guide, I'll be going over a basic setup on how to get ProDG Target Manager installed, as well as some common tips and tricks that I think will be useful to the end user, and I'll be covering that as well for today. Some other general information: what is ProDG Target Manager? So ProDG Target Manager is a debugger / manager that allows the end user to connect to multiple development PlayStation 3s at once. So whether if you have a DEX PS3 on Rebug or a bunch of test kits or DECRs, basically you could connect a bunch of units up with this program manager, and you could start them up, debug them, launch games from your setup on via with app home, and I'll get more into the nitty-gritty of that. But another key information or fact as well: ProDG allows the end user to help aid for writing plugins and other custom tools to debug said game title. So in my example, if you guys are, you know, in tune to my channel, I always basically do these development live streams for PlayStation Home, and ProDG allows me, like what I said before, help me debug the actual game itself. Some other key general information, or I should say prerequisites, in for this example. Today you'll need a PlayStation 3 that has DEX custom firmware installed, aka Rebug 4.84 custom firmware as example, which I'll be using today. No actual debug units such as DECRs or, you know, DECR 1000As and DEC AJs, and once I edit out this video, I will have like a picture so you know what I'm talking about. If you own a test kit unit, more than likely you know what they look like, but if you have an actual debug unit, you could do the same thing as well. One thing I do highly recommend for this process is a Ethernet cable. You can do this over with Wi-Fi, but from my experience, the best method on going about setting up ProDG Target Manager with your PlayStation 3 is actually having a Ethernet cable connected from your PC to your PlayStation 3, and I'll get more into that a little bit later on. Also, you need a Wi-Fi connection, of course, so you both need Wi-Fi on your PlayStation 3 and you need a Wi-Fi connection from your PC as well. You need ProDG Target Manager, which is the main focus for today. Any version will work. For today's guys, I will be using version 4.70. However, if you're using like 4.20 or whatever, that's also fine. Any ProDG Target Manager version will work, but sadly I won't provide a link to that since that is a Sony internal tool, and I don't want to get copyright flagged or anything of that nature in terms of legality. You can just find it on Google. Also as well, you need a PC. With all of that fun stuff getting out the way in terms of general information and the prerequisites, we'll be going on to the PlayStation 3, start talking about the main topics of what we need to get set up, as well as on the PC. So I'll meet you guys for that process. Alrighty everyone, assuming that you guys did follow all the prerequisites as stated in the actual intro itself, welcome to the PC portion of this guide. And what I'm going to do as of right now is show you on how to successfully install ProDG Target Manager on your not your PlayStation 3, but your PC first. And then we're going to transition on to the PS3, getting that set up via with the Ethernet cable. And then we're going to just, get up with the whole setup. So first things first, I won't provide a link to ProDG Target Manager as I stated in the intro. What you can do is just Google it, due to this is a Sony internal tool and I don't want to face any flags on my channel or anything like that, even though I don't think it's will be a big issue since it's always been floating around on Google. However, just to be on the safe side, just find it yourself. But once you have ProDG Target Manager on your desktop or wherever your downloads folder, what we're going to do is go ahead and launch it as an administrator. So right now what I'm going to do is right click over the file, make sure you run as administrator. Your screen will go black for a second, which is normal, but just go ahead and hit yes. And then right now you will have the ProDG installer manager. Right now make sure you have this basically checked off where it says install ProDG for PlayStation 3, and then all you got to do is hit next, and then it will ask you where you want to install these files to. You can change them into a particular location if you want to put this somewhere else on your hard drive or maybe external hard drive, but just for simplistic sake, or just being simple with this whole process, you could just leave it as C program files x86 SN system PS3 to where to install to. And for the environment variable for SEE PS3 root, just put C user local cell and then just go ahead and hit OK. Right now what it's doing is basically unpacking all of the contents from the .exe file, which will be ProDG Target Manager, the documentation, ProDG debugger as well with that documentation, and some of the SN launcher and system file drivers that it needs for everything to be successful. Once this is fully done, what will happen is basically we'll ask you to restart your your PC. So once you get this, just hit OK. And then here's the message I was talking about. It says you must restart your system for the configuration changes to take effect. Click yes to restart or right now, or no to basically manually restart later. I do highly recommend it. Just go ahead and restart your PC. So make sure if you have any important tabs open, close them down, go ahead and save your applications and hit yes. But in my case, I'm gonna go ahead and cut off the video right now, restart my PC, and then come back later once ProDG Target Manager is fully installed. So I'll meet you guys back for that. Alrighty, so as of right now my PC has successfully restarted. So on your end guys, if you did what I stated earlier in the video, to make sure to go ahead and reset your PC, make sure to save your stuff, and now you're back onto your Windows desktop. What we need to do to boot up Target Manager first is to go ahead in the type bar section here, or where it says type here to search. In this search bar, all you got to do is type in Target Manager. And you don't even got to spell the full thing, but once you have Target Manager open, go ahead and just open it up. Yours may look a little different if it's like version 4.20, but basically it looks the same. Since I recently restarted, or basically repaired my build of Target Manager, or basically removed it, none of my targets are here, and yours should look the same. And the reason why I did that, so we could start on a fresh slate, so you could see on how to set up your target on your PlayStation 3 if you're on DEX and stuff like that. But this is how generally ProDG Target Manager looks. And what I'll do in a second is show you on how to get the network side of things already enabled for on the PC side as well as the PlayStation 3 side. And what we're going to do as of right now is just to go ahead and get started on that setup, and then I'm going to show you guys on how to add the actual targets, and then show some tips and tricks while basically utilizing ProDG Target Manager. So in my example, what I'm going to do here is just minimize out ProDG Target Manager, and what I'm going to do is go ahead and toggle over back to my PlayStation 3 for a second, and I'm going to show you guys on what we need to do as of right now, and then we're going to toggle back and forth from the PC to actually the PS3 so we can get our network settings. So I'll meet you guys back on the PS3. Alrighty guys, as you see here, I'm back onto my PlayStation 3 as of right now. What you guys want to do, make sure ProDG Target Manager is still up on your PC. Make sure your PS3 is set up, and this is where we're going to be setting up the Ethernet connection, or basically setting up our network connection via with ProDG Target Manager as well as our PlayStation 3. As you notice, I am on DEX firmware because you could just tell by that my IP address is displayed in the right hand corner, and that's how you know for sure if you're on DEX. If you're on KEX trying to do this, it will not work. You need to be on DEX for ProDG Target Manager, and the easiest way on how to detail that, if you go into your Rebug toolbox that came with your console, and I am using Rebug 4.84 KEX, or excuse me, DEX for this guide, and this is how I'm enabling this. So right now I'm just waiting for it to boot and do its thing, so just waiting. Okay, so you can see here, if I go into information settings, my LV2 kernel and target type is onto DEX. So make sure before doing this, if your things both say on KEX, make sure if you are on KEX, you could convert KEX to DEX, and I will have an actual video probably once I edit this out showcasing on how to do that, and it will be a card as well as in the link in the description. But make sure you're on DEX for this process, and then what you can do is just quit out. Of course, if you're on a DECR or a debug kit, you already know you're on that target type anyway, so it really doesn't apply to you. However, since I am on my PlayStation 3 as of right now, what we need to do is go ahead and plug a Ethernet cable into your PlayStation 3 to your PC. So what I mean by that is, and I'll probably will have like a little picture on the screen explaining on once I edit this out. Basically, you want to take a Ethernet cable, plug it into the back of your PlayStation 3, take that same Ethernet cable and plug it back into your PC. Once you've done that, we're going to go back to the PC, and then just go ahead and set up the network settings within the Windows Network Setting Manager, and I'll show you that right now. Alrighty, so as of right now, your PlayStation 3 should be on, its Wi-Fi connection should be on as well. What we want to do as of right now, make sure your Ethernet cable is still plugged in from the back of your PS3 to your PC, and then what we're going to do in Windows is go into the Ethernet settings and make a share connection so both our PlayStation 3 and PC could be connected at the same time. So the way on how to do that is to go and type in Ethernet settings in Windows 10, and then from here go into change adapter options, and then if you have your Ethernet cable plugged in from your PC to your PS3, you should automatically see this as unidentified network and your Ethernet is on. If I unplug my Ethernet, it will basically not show up. As well, what I recommend is make sure you have your Wi-Fi connection on your PC, since we're going to make a shared connection from our Wi-Fi. You can do it from our Ethernet via with just a local setup, and I will have actually a card on a video where you could check that out. But if you want to make sure you have full Wi-Fi connection on your PlayStation 3, and basically you're sharing your Wi-Fi through your PC's Ethernet cable, or from your PC I should say, then you can go ahead and follow along. So right now, go ahead and find your Wi-Fi connection. Here's mine right here. All we're going to do is go ahead and right click over it, go into properties, make sure you go into the sharing tab. You want to go and make sure this is toggled on, allow other network users to connect through this computer's internet connection, and then right now you want to go and select over Ethernet. You want to make sure where it says allow other network users to control or disable the share internet connection, just go ahead and hit OK. It will display your local network, so when internet connection sharing is enabled, your LAN adapter will be set using this IP address. Yours may be different, but if you get this message, just go ahead and hit yes. And then right now, you notice that my internet right now went from Wi-Fi to shared. That means it's fully connected via from here. What we're going to do now is go back onto the PlayStation 3, and I'm going to show you guys exactly on how to get your network settings fully set up via with the shared Wi-Fi connection settings. So right now, let's go back onto the PlayStation 3 and I'll show you guys on how to do that. Alright, so as you can see right here, I'm on my PlayStation 3. You can see my IP address already displayed since I already had this previously set up. But never mind that, what we're going to do is still go ahead and get this fully set up the proper way. So let me just turn on my controller. And then what we're going to do is scroll down to our network settings. So here's my network settings. Make sure, of course, it's enabled, and you want to go into your internet connection settings. Please make sure once again your Ethernet cable is connected or this process won't work. So in my example, just go ahead and hit X, and basically it's saying adjust settings for connection to the internet. If you're making a wire connection, which in this case we are, you must have a Ethernet cable connected. So that's just reiterating what I was saying before. Just go ahead and hit OK. Now what we're going to do is go ahead and do custom, wired connection, auto detect, automatic, do not set, DNS you could just put to automatic, do not use, enable, and hit X. Right now what we're going to do is go ahead and test our connection really quick. So in my case, what should happen, you should see my obtain my IP address, you should see the internet connection, you should also see I'm able to connect to PSN, and that's how you know basically everything is good for the most part on the PlayStation 3 side of things. So just waiting for it to do its full internet connection check, and then once you go through the settings via right here, what we're going to do is go back to our PC and get ProDG Target Manager installed. So right now we got to hit a circle, and right here our IP address should pop up in a second. So here is my IP address. You saw how it was from 000, and now this is the default PlayStation 3's IP address. So right now what we're going to do, what I recommend as of right now, take that IP address that is being showcased on a screen, either write it down or just look up on a screen. Since this is the IP address, we need to type via on ProDG Target Manager and getting that set up to connect to our target. So that's what I'm going to do right here. Go back on the PC and show you guys on how to connect via with ProDG Target Manager. Alright, so we're back onto the PC as of right now. We just set up our Ethernet connection just fine on the PlayStation 3. We did our checks. Now what we need to do is open up ProDG Target Manager. I already have my icon right here, but if you already have the little hidden icon here, you can just double tap that, and this is how you can get back in ProDG Target Manager. As well, another way to do it is just literally type Target Manager and then it will pop up as well. So right now what we're going to do, I'm going to show you on how to get your PlayStation 3's IP address popped up onto the screen. So in my case, I'm going to go ahead and add a target, and I'm going to show you guys on the exact target what you'll need to choose. If you have a DECR 1000, basically one of those big PlayStation 3 reference tools, if you guys don't know what it looks like, I'll probably have a picture up on the screen. You want to go ahead and make sure your target type is this. If you have a DECR 1400J or 1400A, which will look like a regular PS3 but say tool on it, once again, once I edit this out, I'll have a picture of it, then choose that one. But if you have a debug station, or if you have a PlayStation 3 that's on Rebug custom firmware that's on DEX, basically you want to choose this as debug station. So in my case, since I'm on Rebug 4.84 DEX, this is what we're going to be using today. And what you could do is create a name. So for today's purpose, since this is a YouTube guide, I'm just going to call this Nagato's YouTube PS3. And then right now what we're going to do is either you could connect your IP address by writing down the exact IP address that is showcased on the PS3's XMB, and I'll show a picture of that right now, and then you can just go ahead and type it in. So in my case, it's 192.168.137.34. Your port will be 1000. If you're on a DECR, your port will be 8530. And I'll probably have that written down in the description later. Most people will be using a debug kit, but if you already own a DECR, more than likely you already know that the port is that. And then right now it's just a summary stating on what target it is. So just hit finish. Right now you can see that if I right click over it, I could connect to it, and if everything is okay, you should see the green light stating that basically ProDG Target Manager is running just fine. So as of right now, what I'm going to do is go ahead and go here. You can see console output. This is basically just the output section of if you launch a game title or whatever. This is what the output will basically showcase of that, like the executables running. As you see here, File Explorer, this is all of your files that are located on your actual hard drive of your unit. So if I go into dev_acd0, and basically if I go into my game folder right here, it's basically you get FTP files from here back and forth as well. But just to show you guys an example, if I drag this right here to icon 0 PNG, or if I attempt to, you can see that this file icon is PlayStation Home. So that's pretty cool what you can do in ProDG Target Manager. You can transfer files back and forth. And let me just delete that right now. There's some other cool things you can do with ProDG Target Manager. You can install package files into its correct location. So in the package files right here, if I had a PKG, not too sure if I have any PKGs right now, Not too sure. Actually, I probably do. If I have a PKG right here, what I'm going to do is just, you could drag it. Let me see. So you can see here, a PKG file has been installed. Do you want to install this package? Just say no. And then right now what it's doing will be transferring the file location to basically have the packages here. So you can see here I have the PKG for PlayStation Home extracted via right there, and then voila. But yeah, that's some cool things you could do via with ProDG Target Manager, and transferring this method is way much faster as well. So if you're trying to transfer a bunch of PS3 ISOs, games and stuff like that, you can. But what I'm going to do as of right now, getting out the File Explorer section, what you could do if you're in debug mode as well, for certain games, you could enable smart capture, and you could basically take screenshots within games as well, but they have to be in debug mode, and I'll explain about more of that a little bit later. What I'm going to do as of right now is toggle back on my PlayStation 3 and basically have ProDG Target Manager in like a right hand corner display, and just showcasing on how it reacts towards certain things. And I'm going to show you guys later on how to basically turn off your console, how to reset it from debug mode via from software mode, and such and so forth like that. So what I'm going to do right now is go back on my PlayStation 3 and show some other cool tips and tricks with along ProDG Target Manager. So alrighty, so as of right now, we're back onto the PlayStation 3. What I did for this segment of this video was take ProDG Target Manager, I slapped it on my PS3's capture card screen so we could just see in live time how ProDG Target Manager basically reacts to when I launch certain games, and basically how is this useful. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and clear the logs, and what I'm going to do here is showcase on how it reacts when booting into a game. So if you were trying to make mods or learn about how the game functions at like boot, you can see from the console logs once I launch the title here, it gets basically all of the debug logs that is happening once the game is booting up. So that's pretty useful if you're trying to basically fix any errors, especially if you're trying to debug a game. And this is how I usually operate stuff when I do for PlayStation Home. For today's video, it won't be like a debugging section on how to try to find stuff, but it's just kind of a general synopsis on how ProDG Target Manager functions on either a debug unit, a DECR, or if you have a PlayStation 3 that's on Rebug custom firmware. So in my case, let's say for example, I'm done debugging the game. I'm happy on how the way I'm playing it and stuff like that. What I'm going to do is show you guys on how to basically take your target and reset it. So if you right click over it, go into reset mode, make sure your thing is on system software mode, that's basically X and B, and you can reset your console. So in my case, you can see my console is successfully resetting just like normal. And then via from here, you'll see the PlayStation 3 doing its thing. So if I go into console output really quickly right here, it may clear its logs. I'm trying to see what it does, or maybe not. Okay, it didn't clear its logs. Oh yeah, it did. So for example, let me just put this back here. And that's a cool thing you could do in ProDG Target Manager as well. You can move your tabs wherever you want it, so depending on how you like it. I just like it the official way, how it is, but you can move your tabs the way you want to, so it's easier for you. So that's cool that it has like a custom GUI. But what I'm going to do now is showcase on how to basically, from ProDG Target Manager, I showed you guys on how to basically take ProDG Target Manager and reset your console. I'm going to go ahead and toggle out one of my screens for a second. So I'm going to take ProDG Target Manager off, and I'm going to create a source on OBS really quickly so I can show you guys on how to basically show ProDG Target Manager in full screen. So right now it may look a little bit janky on the screen as of right now. So here is ProDG Target Manager. I'm not too sure how it's coming up, but let me minimize the screen really quickly. But here is ProDG Target Manager. You can see here that let me see. actually. I think it's way too full on the screen. Let me try to toggle it a little bit lower. Alright, so that's a little bit better since you can see the full screen. But here's ProDG Target Manager. You can see here from my PlayStation 3 and on the PC as of right now, that some other cool things you can do within ProDG Target Manager. If I right click over this, and if I want to change my monitor settings for whatever reason, for certain games, if you're trying to debug, you can set it to 480i. And I notice certain older PlayStation 3 titles, if you have like rare builds and stuff like that, you may need to go and change settings right here. So you could change your target settings if you have HDCP, and this only works with a debug unit console. So only like DEC AJs and actual debug units you could turn HDCP off, as well as reference tools. But this won't work for like retail consoles that basically has Rebug custom firmware. You still need a HDMI splitter, which is a cool feature nonetheless within ProDG Target Manager. Some other cool things you could do is add, if you want to delete this target and you're done with this PlayStation 3, you can. I'm trying to think of other cool tips and tricks that you could learn from ProDG Target Manager. Right here, this is just a quick way on how to reset X and B. You could also turn off your console, power it on. Here you can update your system via the SDK or system software. I don't really recommend doing it that way, but you can if you have a actual console that you want to. If you want to run a executable, whether it be a eboot.bin file or a .self, to run PlayStation, or not PlayStation Home, but any game, you can, but it varies from game to game. You can, but yeah, this is essentially on how to fully set up ProDG Target Manager. Hopefully this guide that I gave you today shows you on how to successfully connect to ProDG Target Manager, how to get your console's outputs basically when you try to debug a game, how to transfer some files over with File Explorer, and basically just some other cool things you can check out with ProDG Target Manager. If you guys did enjoy this video, please leave a like, please be sure to comment down below, and I will have key information and other useful tips and tricks that you guys can check out for this. But with that being said, my name is Nagato and I'm signing out. Thank you guys for watching. Alrighty guys, one more thing I did forget to mention before signing out. I forgot how to teach you guys on how to basically boot into debug menu, or basically debug mode on your PlayStation 3, and how to basically get out of it. So that's what I'm going to be showcasing right now. So right now I'm going to show you guys on how to do it, and you can see my PlayStation 3 right here. To get into debug mode, if you go into reset mode, debug mode, this allows you to launch games as basically a .self. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and reset my console, and as you notice, if I go into console output, let me just scroll down the list right here, you can see that it's still in X and B mode, but once it fully restarts, and let me just say right here, or see right here, you can see that the LV1 and LV2 kernels are basically resetting into its proper mode, and then I'm just waiting for it to do its full thing. So you can see here, SDK version is now in debug boot mode, and let me just make sure probably on the PC, it's probably a bit wonky, flashing the screen, but once I edit this out, I will show you a official picture of how debug development mode looks like, and this is how it should look like. So if you're in actual debug mode on your PlayStation 3, it will basically have a gray screen and showcase that your PlayStation 3 is now ready to basically launch any self file itself. But what I'm going to do is show you guys on how to get back out of it. So once I go back into ProDG Target Manager via right here, go into go into reset mode. Once again, go into system software, right click over it, and go to reset. What will happen is basically you won't be in debug mode anymore. You'll basically have ProDG Target Manager reset your console back into X and B, which is a common issue that a lot of people get, and they complain, how did I get out of debug mode? Did I break my PlayStation 3? No, that's just a normal thing. But as of right now, you can see my PlayStation 3 is just fine. And yeah, that's one little quick tip I did forget to mention. But with that being said, I am done with this video. Hopefully I answered everyone's questions or anything in this nature of ProDG Target Manager, and hopefully you guys have a better understanding on how to do this. With that being said, my name is Nagato's Revenge. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. Hey everyone, it's me, Nagato's Revenge here. Hope you guys did enjoy today's video. With that being out the way as well, I highly do recommend that y'all guys go ahead and follow my social media so you never miss any of the latest hacking guides and tutorials on my channel by subscribing to me and hitting that notification button as well. Is another method on how you will know when I drop my latest content, whether it be for the Vita, PS4, PS3, and such and so forth. As well, if you want to be in the mix of things and you want to join my official community, you can join via the link right now showcased on the screen and join my Discord that way. And if you do want to support my channel in any shape or form, you could become a patron. I will have a card right now. But with all of that getting out the way, hope you guys really did enjoy this video, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.